Well, how's it going out there today, boys and girls in sporty land? This is JPC with J&J Outlaw Sports, the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the Note, even more so than those media talking heads, as always. Now, getting right into the topic at hand here, class. Today's topic is a rivalry that shouldn't be considered a rivalry, and one, in my opinion, that's holding back a certain university. That being Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. But before I get into that and give you the details of that, I'd like to ask you guys and gals to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions are most important. They don't take that long to hit that subscribe button, maybe 5 seconds, and hit that little bell, and you'll get notified when I'm up and running on the air, and it keeps me in the good graces of YouTube. So, now, back to the topic at hand here. Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. It's called the Bedlam Series. My question is, why? What's so bedlam about it? What's the intrigue? What's the mystery? For the most part, this game is a foregone conclusion before it's ever played every year. Now, granted, the last 20 years or so in this century, it has been somewhat more competitive, with Oklahoma State winning a few here and there, with Mr. I'm 40 and his lay to claim his lay to claim for fame. Mr. I'm 40, I guess he's now Mr. I'm 52. But this series, man, to me, has held Oklahoma back. The fact that they enable it. So it's somewhat Oklahoma's fault too. Oklahoma, the reason why this aggravates me so much is Oklahoma could have joined the SEC a while back. When we was having another round of expansion with Texas A&M, Missouri. The rumor has it that we're going to go after Oklahoma and Texas, or Oklahoma and Texas A&M, actually. Texas was on the block, too, when they was thinking about going for 4. But they ended up with Missouri and Texas A&M, as we all know. But Oklahoma was one of the first teams that they talked to. And Oklahoma said that they could not come to the SEC unless they were able to bring Oklahoma State, because it was such a great in-state rivalry. The state legislature just could not have anything to do with breaking these two up. Oh, woe is me, how college football would suffer without this excruciating rivalry, because it sure as hell ain't titillating. It's excruciating for everybody else to watch, because they're up 90-18. 90-18. Not 90-88 or 90-78 or 90-68. 90-18. For it to be considered a rivalry. To be considered a rivalry and to look someone in the face and not be able to laugh and call it a rivalry, you would have to be at least within 20 games of somebody, in my opinion. At least 20 games. Right? 90-18. So, to me, Oklahoma, I don't know if maybe they just didn't want to come to the SEC because there's already too many football schools in the SEC. Alabama's there, of course, along with LSU, Georgia, and Florida. Once upon a time, Tennessee, but, you know, Tennessee's done fell off the map. But maybe that was part of it, but they continue to say it's because of Oklahoma State. And if that's the case, they need to find some way to get with the state legislator and say, hey, look, this is a good move for our university. This is something that would benefit us extremely. I mean, look at Texas A&M, for example. Now, they haven't won a national championship or the SEC title yet, but they're coming around, and their recruiting and their facilities have gotten 10 times better since joining the SEC. So if they can do it for Texas A&M, I know damn good and well that joining the SEC would be the best thing that ever happened to Oklahoma. Now, there is rumors that the next time the SEC expands, they do want to try to get a university that either has a great market city that it's in, or market area, and one that has more of a array of sports as far as competing. So what they're going to do probably is they're going to go after one football school and one school that's good at basketball and other sports and has a great marketability as far as their city goes. And that's why I've been here in NC State, because they got the Raleigh-Durham market, which could also snowball into Charlotte possibly. So, NC State and another football school. Oklahoma's a no-brainer. They're in the same area. Their fans are just as rabid, sort of in the South, really. It's the Southwest. Their fans and their traditions fit the SEC to a T. So if they're going to go after a football school, it's got to be Oklahoma. But the thing is, Oklahoma said they're not coming without Oklahoma State. And then there's also the Texas rivalry that they don't want to give up. Let me tell y'all something. Texas and Oklahoma State right now are basically bumming off y'all. Y'all are carrying Texas and Oklahoma State right now. And what's so bad is Texas slaps every single Big 12 member in the face every year they have the Longhorn Network. When you're in a conference, you're supposed to share revenue and everything when it comes to that kind of stuff. But they don't. And that's BS. And we all know it's BS. But Texas gets away with it because the Big 12 thinks they can't do without Texas. But they can. They already lost Texas A&M and Missouri. So, Texas is not going to get an invite, most likely, because they showed their ass. Texas, more than likely, if Oklahoma were to ever leave the Big 12, Texas would probably become an independent. But here's a few stats to let y'all know that this is why y'all should just go ahead and cut ties with Oklahoma State. If Oklahoma State can stand on their own and get better to the point where one day they can join a big conference like the SEC or the Pac-12 or the Big Ten, then that's great. But y'all should not have to wait around on them. Look, the first 8 games, Oklahoma shut them out. The first 8 times they played, they didn't even score. They won the first 11 meetings in this series. And 2 of those games in the first 8, the very first game was 75-0, and the third game was 67-0. Also, Oklahoma won 17 or either tied 17 of the first 18 games. There was a winning streak in this series of 19 in a row. That's not a rivalry. And another one was 17-0-1. So, you call that a rivalry? I mean, that's some Alabama-Mississippi State stuff. Nobody thinks of Alabama-Mississippi State as a rival. These are supposed to be in-state rivals. Y'all would be better off having a football rivalry with Tulsa than Oklahoma State. Some of these stats are just mind-boggling. Here's the biggest one to me. Of the 118 or 108 plus times or 110 times that y'all played, Oklahoma has shut out Oklahoma State 28 times. Not only is it not competitive, they're not even scoring. 28 times they didn't score. That's a lot of games not to score a single damn point. So Oklahoma, you're too good for this. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to give y'all a hard time and say y'all dodging the SEC, although some people have said y'all are hiding behind the Oklahoma State excuse. I will not lie to you. But y'all need to get with the state legislature and let them know that the best thing for Oklahoma football is to be in the SEC, and Oklahoma State and Texas need to stand on their own. And that's all I got to say about that. If you guys and gals agree, drop it in the comment section. If you don't agree, drop it in the comment section and tell me why. Tell me why that this should continue to be a rivalry, and why the Big 12 should even exist anymore, because Oklahoma's just, they're carrying y'all. Oklahoma is carrying the Big 12 in football. That's my opinion. So, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Once again, subscriptions are real important for me. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.